Hello, hello. So you have downloaded your human design chart and discovered that you are a reflector. So I'm going to take you through five kind of tips, five things to know about your human design type. So it's not an extensive, exhaustive guide to being a reflector, but just five things to get you started. So there are five types in human design: manifestor, generator, manifesting generator, projector, and reflector. And reflector is actually the rarest type. Only 1% of the population is a reflector. So I'm going to give you also at the end of this a little analogy, a scenario of a project where all five types might work together so that again you can kind of see how all the different types fit in, and that can help to kind of picture where does a reflector kind of fit into that kind of thing. Um, so moving on to the five things. Like I said, a reflector is incredibly rare. And so as everything in life, we tend to move towards the majority. So the majority of us are either generator or manifesting generator. So the world and society and conditioning and everything is kind of all set up really for that. So the other types, manifestor, projector, and yourself, um, may find that actually when you start to align to your human design, that you were actually leaning towards or being influenced by a generator or manifesting generator, and almost like trying to act or behave like that because that is just how the world works and what is kind of expected of us. So obviously it does depend on how much personal development you've done, how aligned you are, tuned into yourself you are already. But as a reflector, if you do find yourself being a reflector, I would say it's almost like one of the most important human design types to actually look into because it can answer a lot of questions for you and it can really make a big difference, especially when it comes to health and well-being and using your energy. Human design is almost like a sort of energy blueprint. It is an energy efficiency guide type thing. It directs us and helps us to know how to use our energy efficiently. And so my chart here, I'm a manifesting generator. All of these centers here, without trying to get too complicated into the system, because I'm trying to just keep it what does it mean to be a reflector, but all of these centers, if the center is defined, that's where we're in our own energy. Where the center is open or undefined and it's white, that's where we're taking on the energy of others. And actually, as you can see on your chart as a reflector, every single center on your chart is undefined, which means you do not have consistent access to your own energy. You are highly influenced by the world around you. And that is why it's so important to be able to learn as a reflector to distinguish what is your energy, what is not your energy, and also being in the right environment. Because literally, what you taking in, what you are surrounding yourself by, is going to massively impact your energy. So every human design type has a different aura, and your aura is sampling and reflective because of the open center. So you're taking in everything around you. And so it kind of gives you this rare ability to see the world as it truly is, because you're almost like seeing the world through other people's eyes. And wherever you are, you're like reflecting back to people what they see. You'll see what I mean by this when I do the analogy at the end of how all the types work together. But that again is why for your own health and just everything really, being in the right environment is key, because if you're surrounding yourself and you're taking in energy which is incorrect for you or wrong, that's going to massively impact your system as a whole. So if you do walk in somewhere, you think, oh, this is not for me, or you're picking up energy you don't like, that is really a cue that this place, this situation, the people, like it's not right for you. And managing your energy and making sure that you're not burning yourself out or trying to keep up with other people. Um, because what you will find is you are a mirror for other people, but it gives them a unique perspective on their health, their environments, because you will mirror back to them what you're feeling. If you are around some people who are really loud, you are potentially likely to mirror that and become quite loud. If you are around people who are very quiet, again, you're potentially likely to mirror that back to people. And I have heard from some people, like, if you are around a reflector and you don't like what you see, ultimately just really think about what is it you don't like what that you see for like the rest of us, because actually what we're seeing is a reflection of ourselves. So it's not to say that you as a reflector are not your own person, like far from it, far from it, but it kind of means that you get almost like this beautiful journey through life where you get to sample and try on all these other experiences as well as your own. Um, so while you are with other people, you get to experience truly what it's like to be in that environment. Whereas the rest of us, we potentially are stuck and we don't fully appreciate or take in where we are or what we're seeing or what we're doing. So it's actually a beautiful thing that you are able to sample all of these different areas in life for what they really are. And then again, that will help you discern which is right for you, which is not right for you. Um, and in terms of making a decision as a reflector, all of the, again, human design types, they come with their own internal guidance system. It's called your sort of authority, strategy, and authority. Um, like for reflectors, again, because the energy that you're taking in does consistently change. What we're looking for here, especially if it's a bigger decision, is to allow your time for it to settle and to make sure that this really is your perspective and your clarity. So, again, without trying to complicate things too much, like if you look at my chart, I have all these gates activated, and that's kind of like my consistent anchor of how I know what is true. Okay. Now, the way the human design system works, the lovely moon here, the moon will cycle through and activate all of these gates at some point in the 28-day cycle. Okay. So therefore, it means that you over that time, you've kind of experienced all the different lenses to look at something through, as well as whatever's coming into the system. So, if it might seem a little bit difficult to comprehend, but if you are making a really big decision, it is all about taking your time. Now, the other thing about any decisions, really, again, for a reflector, is to be on your own and make sure that again you're tuning into the right information for you and that you're in the right environment, because the environment that you're trying to make the decision in will impact how you feel literally. So as a reflector, take your time to make decisions, allow everything and all the different perspectives and all the different information to flow into the system and to give your system time to reach that kind of point of clarity of like, no, this is my decision. This is not somebody else's. And, again, the you can probably speed this up, or the best way to do this again is to have some time on your own in the right environment. Now, when you are aligned, you are likely to feel surprised because, like I said, you have this beautiful gift of being able to sample all of these different things. And when it is aligned, all of these, if you find yourself in the right environments and following the right path, it will feel magical. And the way to tell if you're following the wrong alignment and the wrong path and surrounding yourself with the wrong people is if you start to feel disappointed because the experience that you had, that energy you've taken in, that environment you're in, the people you're with, it's kind of like if it just doesn't, if you have this sort of disappointed feeling of like, oh, this is not like a great experience for me, then that is a sign that it's the wrong environment or you're with the wrong people. So as a reflector, really kind of being able to tune in and discern between when something feels magical versus when something feels a little bit disappointing. Like it's like, oh, this is not how I wanted it to be. This doesn't feel great. This is disappointing. Like this restaurant's disappointing. This thing is disappointing. Kind of means actually it's not right for you. It's not the right environment. It's not the right energy to take you in because you're sort of picking up your life zest and this magical stuff by being in the right environment and having the right energy. So I did say that I would also give you a little analogy to see how it all fits in like let's say all the types were working on one project together. So the analogy I use is house building. So the manifester is here to kind of initiate a project, to kick things off, to get things started. And in the case or the analogy of the house building, they're likely to be the person who decides they're building the house, who decides, where they're going to build the house. They source the land, they source the finance, and they start to put the team together. Okay, they start to put the team together. But again, the manifester does not have the same energy source as the generator and the manifesting generator. So the manifester is not designed to see the whole project through to the end. There will be a point in the project where the manifester kind of withdraws themselves. They put the team together, everything's in place, and they protect. The way that a manifester protects their energy is by removing themselves from the project at the right point and lets everyone get on with it and lets everyone else see it through to completion. So the people who are doing the main bulk of the work on this house build, because they have this sacral, this kind of energy life force that can sustain the work that needs to be done for longer periods of time, is the generator, manifesting generator. Now, again, it's not that they're going to say yes to every single house build or every single offer from the manifester. Um, they will still be following their own strategy and follow an authority to make those decisions. And but when they do find the right project, so whether it is a house by the sea or a barn conversion or some flats or whatever it is, they will think, yes, this is the project for me. And the slight difference between the generator and the manifesting generator is how they would then complete those projects. The generator may work on one project at a time and sort of see it through in a bit more of a linear fashion, whereas the manifesting generator might sort of have two or three projects on the go at the same time. They'd still complete everything, but they just get it done in a different way, a bit more multitasky, say, than the generator. That's a real generalization, but that can sometimes be the difference between the two. Now, a projector's role in all of this, again, a projector doesn't have that sacral. They're going to be trying to manage their energy the same way you are and the manifestor is. And the projectors are here to guide. And so in this project, in this scenario, the projector is likely to be the project manager. So they're still involved in the project, they're still doing things, but they're using their energy in a different way. And they are able to see what's happening, and guide people, guide the manifesting generator and the generator into the best kind of use of their time. And oh, actually, I think, it'd be really good if we did this part here and then we did the kitchen. And, so they're going to be the project manager and they're going to be directing the other use of energy of the other types, but they're also protecting their own energy by guiding and directing, not actually getting involved in the build. So the generators, manifesting generators are, your builders and your plumbers and your electricians and might be your interior designers and all that side of things. But the projector is going to be the project manager. Now, the reflector, in this scenario, I always said you're like a mirror. You're absorbing the energy around you and you're reflecting it back to people. So in that particular situation, you're gonna like come along and literally absorb and see the reality of this situation and see it through a completely open and clear lens. And so you would be able to come along and say whether they did good or not. You would be able to come along and see and share like this reflection of what is the reality of this house they have built. Is this good or not? Do you like it or not? What is the value of this house? You might be the person who places the value on it, kind of comes along and says like, yeah, this is good or it's not, or this is about to fall down or whatever. So you're going to come back and reflect the true nature of this finished project. And it's again, if they like it or they don't like what you say, that is a reflection of what they've done. Not, it's got nothing to do with you. You're just reflecting back the reality of what you see. Did they do a good job or not? Is the house good or not? Does it is it gonna stay standing or not? You're reflecting back the trueness of what you see. And again, if you're kind of in the wrong environment, they're not going to like what you say. If you're in the right environment, they are going to like what you say. So it's that kind of thing. Hopefully that analogy helps a little bit. Um, in terms of, that is a true gift that you're going to be giving back to people is the reality of the situation for them, a true mirror of what's actually going on around you, and you're able to see things that maybe other people, can't see. Obviously, the projector can see to an extent and is using their energy to guide, but you are the true mirror back of what's going on around you. So, as I said, that's not the full scope of everything to do with being a reflector or your human design, um, but it is hopefully giving you an insight, might give you some answers, might help you to get started on your journey. I do have a little caveat around learning human design. It's very important to remember when looking at the parts of the chart in isolation. That how everything comes together does make a big difference to your chart. So we also have all of the planetary um, things going on, the variables. Obviously, you guys have all undefined charts, undefined or open centers. But what I use as another analogy is that if you're making a recipe, you might have butter, sugar, flour, eggs, milk, etc., all lined up, across the thing. And each of them will have their own individual role. Eggs are eggs, flour's flour, butter's butter, etc. But as you combine them and how you put them all together, you are going to get a slightly different recipe. You're going to get a different result. You might get a cake, you might get pancakes, you might get Yorkshire puddings. So whenever we are looking at anything to do with our human design chart, um, just be careful of looking at anything in isolation because, like I said, we have to learn it in a linear order. So I've taken you through just the real kind of basics of a reflector. Um, but um, how you look at your whole chart and how you look at everything going on within your chart will actually then change the whole picture. So not every reflector is the same. Does that make sense? Um, so if you've liked that little introduction, you'd like to know more, I do have a free group, Your Introduction to Human Design, which you can join to find out more info, or you can also sign up and have a human design reading if you want to go into it into greater depth, just like one-on-one, and start your journey that way. You can find everything and connect on my link tree, which is POC Coaching for Piece of Cake Coaching. And yeah, I hope that was a little insight into how to get started on your journey of understanding your human design. And hopefully, I will see you somewhere soon and enjoy your human design.